welcome back to the Messed Up Movies Podcast, a show celebrating the movies and filmmakers that embrace the unhinged, the insane, the outrageous, the off-kilter, and the all-around kind of messed up fun you can't take your eyes off of. I'm your host, Josh Griffey, joined as always by my friend, co-host, and just painfully unaware partner,
Alex Tandino.
That's right. You're the naughty husband in this relationship, bitch. All right, everyone.
I guess.
See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Before we dive into today's incredible new movie, Nightbitch.
You made the decision. Jeez.
Okay, don't fight in front of the children. Let me do business. All right, everyone, if you would be so kind, the best way to support the show, help us grow the show, please go to the Messed Up Movies Podcast Patreon page. That's the way you can find some voice in the show, some authorship in the show, get our amazing miniseries extra. We have a lot of awesome stuff over there. Tons of new cool stuff we're working on to make that even more fun for you. We have a great community we'd love you to be a part of. Please, 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 please. Make sure you go subscribe to the Misfit Parade YouTube page. That's where you can see video versions of this pod, shorts from other stuff. We'll have some specific YouTube content over there. On that note, we also do Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. We have reels and shorts, which are a great way to share the show with your friends, let them know what we're up to. You know we all work for the algorithm. Make sure you're leaving 5-star ratings and reviews wherever you find the show. Another way to just let us know, hey, we hear you. It's going well. Thank you. Help us get on charts, algorithms, all that kind of stuff. Charts. We got to do it. Very much like an aloof husband, right? We're here to work for them, man. We don't have selfhood anymore. We work for the algorithm. Make sure you go to misfitparade.net, maybe .com by the time you hear this. So you can join our newsletter there, join the parade. That's the best way to keep up with all the productions we have that are about to start. A lot of fun stuff on the horizon for our first feature film, Mr. Cream Jeans' Hidey Hole. Also on that note, you can go watch our festival flick. It's finally on YouTube, Sugar Tits. Perfect pairing with Nightbitch. Perfect pairing. Go find that now! All right. We are here for New Movie Monday, talking about the new film, Nightbitch. Alex, would you like to give us a brief synopsis and introduce us to the key players?
Absolutely. Again, this is 2024, of course. Directed by Marielle Heller. If you enjoyed such films as A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood with Tom Hanks, when he was Mr. Rogers, Griffey's favorite guy. And then Can You Ever Forgive Me, which I thought was kind of an unsung film, in my opinion, when it came out with Melissa McCarthy about this famous forger. It was fun. I liked it a lot. She does she does that tightrope walk of comedy and drama, very, very, very specific satirical comedy, which, again, this is no different. It stars, of course, the incredible Amy Adams, who we do not get enough of at this point.
I told you, she's one of those actresses I often forget about her when I'm making lists or thinking of favorite actresses. She's one of those people that disappears out of my brain, and then every time I see her in something, it's like, Jesus Christ, she is incredible. This is one of my favorite performances she's ever given, truly.
This is definitely, again, I like when she's done a lot of things. Again, she's a fantastic dramatic actress, but it's when she does stuff like this, a personal favorite of mine, and I know that a lot of people, I think she's incredible in that Enchanted, that Disney movie. She's absolutely wonderful. Yeah. Because, again, you believe it, and she's one of those people who just makes you believe it. Joining her, of course, is the guy, one of my favorite great character actors, Scoot McNairy, plays her husband, I think he's just so good. He's wonderful in everything. He's also one of those actors who's just oh yeah, he's in it. This is probably going to be pretty good.
Well, he adds because he's built almost as a foil of all of the things oppressing her, but he does add a heart and empathy to it, so it's not a cartoonish stereotype. He's very great in this movie.
We'll get to that, I think, because it's a fascinating story. The husband is a fascinating thing.
And then we got to shout out horror legend Jessica Harper.
I was going to say Jessica Harper is probably the one. Yeah, she's the librarian. She's
fucking.
She is Suspiria.
She's a legend.
The basic synopsis: she's a mother of a 2-year-old who starts going through some changes and finds herself occasionally turning into a dog at night. That's
that's pretty close to it. So
that's the bare bones approach. There's much more to it, and we're about to talk about it.
In this kind of mom who gives up her career to stay at home with the kid, husband who's pretty aloof and feels like he doesn't get the assignment at all, she finds herself burnt down and destroyed and must figure out how to survive and rebuild life, let out her inner beast, right? So let's start here. This is one of my favorite, the horrors of parenting movies I've seen in my life. It is a brilliant attack on the kind of struggles and heads. Like, I remember once there's this great joke I love by Bill Burr. It's just a well-written joke, but he's like, I'm sick of people saying stay-at-home mom's the hottest job.
This is a hot impression.
No job where you wear your sweatpants to work is the hardest job. He's like, what about fucking smoke jumpers jumping into fires to save people? He's like, you think that's harder than you giving your kid a bowl of Cheerios? And I was like, that's great. Then you have a kid, right? And so also I think me and you both have a unique experience on this because we worked in the industry. My wife's a nurse. She makes a lot more money than me. So when it came time to like who's going to stay at home for a lot of these things, I would turn down gigs and be the stay-at-home dad a lot, right? Then we had our second kid. Then we moved to Indiana. Then COVID hit. So I uniquely had this confluence of person who thinks I want to be a filmmaker, actor, writer, whatever, had to stop a lot of that to try to raise kids, right? And being stuck at home alone. Then you move states. Then you're isolated. You don't have a lot of adult human connection. Then a global pandemic comes and you really never get to leave your house. In that this movie captures so perfectly what I think is the kind of horror of parenting, right? Because most of these movies I think are comedies, right? Your Parenthood, your Daddy Daycare, those kind of movies where it's like, it's funny when, parents and dads get shit on. And we laugh at it.
Yeah, I think for me, I don't like those movies. Not even because I don't think they're funny.
They also end in this saccharine, you know what? Kids are truly the greatest gift. And it's like, let's acknowledge that this is not always fun.
I'm not saying that my child, I love that I have a child. I love Henry. He was a wonderful little boy. He's one of the greatest things. He is the greatest thing I ever did. But it's hard. It's just hard. I'm also not my wife, and she went through a lot more than I did. And as I said, when we were deciding to have a kid, I'm like, listen, we're on your timeline. I'm just the UPS delivery driver. You're the one who has to schedule. You're the one who has to schedule this.
I am immediately aware that any female audience that might find us for this discussion,
let's be very clear about this.
Hey, settle down, dudes who did not have their bodies ripped asunder to bring a kid in the world. I am crystal clear aware of this. I am just talking about
very clear about that.
The empathy I found with this journey of, and this is where the horror gets in, which is the kid needs everything from you when they're that young. They cannot do anything on their own. It is a 24/7 job. The moment when you look away for a second and the kid's holding shit, I was like, that's it in a nutshell. Just, you're always on suicide watch, she said at one point. I was like, that's it. The stress, the not sleeping, your partner coming home and being like, oh, did you write any pages of your script today? And it's like, well, no, I mostly just cried and wanted to melt into a puddle. And then when I did find a moment to sit down, I started and then fell asleep in my chair because I've been running on 2 hours of sleep for 5 days. That never ending. There's no clock out. There's no vacation. There's no coworkers. That isolation. And again, I think the thing this movie hones in on, which is the kind of horrors of this from a mental perspective, besides the physical, right, is when you create a kid, right, one of the things they always say is that your kid is everything, your whole world. Everything I do is for them. That selfish part of you that's still like, but I had dreams, man. I still have stuff I want to do. And where do I find that balance of happiness for me if that means that I might have to not be around my kid for a day? And that struggle is so mentally challenging at times for people that are trying to do. And again, I think the fact that she's an artist really helps make this more crystal clear. Because if you're taking 6 months off of a job you don't care about, just something you do to pay bills, I'm sure this is still prevalent everywhere, right?
No, I think it's my wife works retail. She manages a shop, and because her job requires her to be elsewhere to work, I become the default parent, like you, a lot of the time, the one at home. Now I work full time too. I'm, in this wonderful hotel room away from my job. And I can tell you, yeah, like it is hard being away from your kid just because, especially when you're the one who is spending the most amount of, when you're the one who's doing a lot of the parenting and a lot of the one who's spending a lot of time with him, it is hard to be away from them. But again, absence makes the heart grow fonder. And, my wife's been a single mom for the last 8 weeks, and I think she's incredible for being able to do that. It's still hard, and, we're always just like, what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? This kind of thing, blah, blah, blah. It is a complicated procedure. And I think the horrors of parenting is probably the best. That is like the best way to put it is, yes, like there is all this wonderful stuff and watching this little person become a little person, but that suicide watch thing is so real. It's just, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's
so
terrifying.
Many movies cover that up and make it saccharine because it's like no one wants to go to a movie as a parent and have someone tell them that parenting's not the greatest choice they ever made, right? Because they can't take that back. They can't, like, the parents literally have a talk in this where it's like, do you regret it? And they're like, no, but also I wish I could go back and, like, tell our younger selves, like, hey, this is what you're in for. At one point she says, she's like, yes, I said I wanted this. I had no fucking idea what I was signing up for.
Yeah.
That is real. So let's start here to break into the movie a little bit. This movie has, I think, a really unique device, and it's not the body transformation stuff. I think this movie plays very well with the kind of inner turmoil and monologue, right? So this movie has two devices it uses a lot to really sell this loss of body and the crumbling of dreams and self, right? One is that we have almost constant narration, right? It almost plays like a one-woman slam poetry show at times, where she's talking these very eloquent ways about these very fucking in-the-gutter, dark realities she's facing in her mind.
Right.
As we watch her playing with her cute kid, who's fucking beautiful and great and funny.
Adorable.
And you watch the repetition of these, right? Making the same breakfast, going to the park, doing this over and over and over and over. Like, immediately in the opening credits, I was like, I remember those days. But she's talking to us the whole time about what that internal struggle is as we see her happily being a mom outwardly, right? The other thing is there's a ton of moments in the movie where she breaks away, or like a scene happens that seems real. And then as someone's walking away from her, she says an extra thing or two, right? Like at Mommy Book, she's like, I just need to find another smart, cool mom that I actually like.
Yeah.
And she sees this beautiful woman get up and she's like, no, stay, please, we can be friends. And that's not real. So what did you think, and how did this help that kind of interior struggle with the narration and the little surreal add-ons in the midst of a real scene?
Well, again, this movie just felt very personal. Like a lot of it to me felt very relevant to like the way my wife and I parent in a lot of ways. Like, and
how many times watching this, dude? Me and my wife would be watching a scene would happen, and we'd both immediately turn and point at each other. Like we both thought that we were Amy Adams, like pointing at the other. The book babies thing at the library, I was like, holy shit, it's us when we go to, like, whenever there's an event. Okay, so this was a strange thing, a really weird revelation we had, because Henry's in kindergarten now. We didn't realize we were younger parents. I thought we were old. Like, we're older parents. Yeah. Well, yeah, and I was just like, we're older parents for sure. Like we're in our late 30s. Well,
like,
here in the Midwest, people get cracking young.
No, yeah. Well, so in LA, people wait a long time. Yeah. So I thought we were the old parents, but I thought we were the old ones, but we walked in. Oh, sorry, no, either way. It's just a strange. We walked in a couple of times to like parent teacher conferences and stuff like that, and I was like, oh wow, we are very like he had a Christmas party, and Andrea finally confirmed to me. She was like, hey, we're the younger parents. It's very strange. I was like, really? That's so weird. Like, how much older is everyone than us? Yeah, like this is so strange. She's like, yeah, I think we're on the younger side because a lot of these other parents here are just like sort of part of the system. So like that whole concept of can I be friends with a parent sucks because not even
that, just like you almost despise them because you see these people. And it's your whole personality kids.
Exactly.
Not realizing they're thinking the exact same thing.
Right. It's because you're just like, oh, dude, like, how do you have a conversation with these people about something other? Like, this is the hardest part about being a parent, in my opinion, now. Like, we have, like, Henry's 5, and besides just, like, general life stuff, the hardest thing about being a parent now is, like, how do you relate to other parents without it being just about your children? Because I honestly, like, having parent friends is just one of those things where I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Well, you
like,
find yourself in friend groups where your only connectivity is that your kids play together.
Right,
and
exactly.
it's just like, you know, it's like CrossFitters, it's like vegans, like people that do something and like that's all their personality. You will meet these other parents. But again, I think that narration really sells it, where she's like, this fucking place, these other fucking moms, dude, they only define themselves by motherhood. Like, I got to be friends with suburban moms. I was a cool fucking city artist. And so I think that, like, the kind of sugar-coated nature of this guy singing the, what does the duck do? Bop, bop. And I was like, God damn it, I have been in those circles. And I was always the guy when I walked in, people would be like, who's that fucking dude in the Kiss shirt? Right? It'd be like me and all these other moms and shit. And they'd be like, who the fuck is that? And like, they didn't want to talk to me. And I like clearly didn't want to. But then like, eventually you see each other a couple times every week. You just fucking start talking. And again, I think her interior battle, right, as we hear her like, this fucking sucks. I hate this thing. I need to find a cool, smart mom who can talk about like worldly shit. She is always battling the reality she is chained to right now. And I think, could you imagine this movie without the voiceover?
No.
Right? Because I know it's one of those famous scenes in adaptation, right? Narration is for cowards that aren't good writers. I watched this and I was like, I think this is a brilliant use of narration.
I mean, I think, again, you know, we've talked about the adaptation thing like every time this comes up, and I mean, this is the way you're supposed to do it. It's eloquent. Like, there's the narration within this movie, between that and the like sort of like, let me say, like when she sees that person, the first scene when she sees that person in the grocery store, it like spells out what we're all thinking all the time, always, about having a child. Like, it's one of those things where I think the narration not only is effective, it does that thing that I think bad narration can't do, which is it's explaining something that is in no way something that's going to be able to be shown on screen. Like, you have to have narration to actually.
It's a beautiful flavor addition. It's telling us
really
what's
well
happening.
written. It's really well written.
Yeah, and I think narration that's giving you just emotional depth, it makes it a little more literary, right? Like, it feels a little more like you're reading a novel at times, right? Where we are just deepening her inner turmoil. We could just watch her smile and then turn down and be upset. But the writing is so beautiful, too. It just becomes this very powerful,
well, I think the
extra
narration...
weapon.
I think that's the thing, is the narration does that job of the comedy that you need to not make this like the saddest movie you've ever seen. Because if without the narration, it just becomes like a Gus Van Sant movie where you're like, oh wow, that person's definitely sad. That life sucks. Like, this way at least there's justification for it.
They do it beautifully, right? Because there are moments you don't need it, right? So like when the dad comes home and she's like stressed out. And this is a scene me and my wife both pointed to each other. The scene that, like, there are scenes that just rock you to your core where they don't have to use narration because they're selling it on the screen perfectly, right? When the father finally comes home and she lays on that couch and is like, ah. Then he's like, honey, can you get him some milk?
Dude.
She lays down again. He's like, honey, can you throw a towel in the thing? And she lays down again. And me and my wife both pointed at each other. We're like, no, you. And it's like every parent feels that. So crystal clear that never a fucking, port in the storm. And she just runs in and throws the towel on him while he's shitting. And they later have this discussion. And she's like, yeah, it's hard. I'm struggling a little bit. And he goes, man, I assure you, like, I don't want to be in these meetings. If I could stay home with him every day, I would gladly switch you. And her face drops to this murderous rage. And she's just, you think that, but I fucking assure you, you would not enjoy it. And those moments... Heller makes the beautiful choice to just let them exist because you don't need the flavor, right? The flavor comes in over montages of mom shit, but in that moment, her look says everything. She is essentially a werewolf already pre-transformation, and it's one of those things that there's so many parenting moments where people say shit like that, like when he's like, you know what you need? Just make a schedule, right? Like, take control of your day, and you're just like, you fucking... Like, we'll get to the father later, but you're just like, you fucking piece of shit. Like, God,
yeah.
Like, when people tell you, like, there's simple fixes to this, and you're like, ah!
I think there's a level of, like, the level of pride swallowing that comes with being home with the kid where you're like, oh, well, you should be fine. Like, oh, isn't it great? And I'm like, dude, what's the matter with you? Like, and again, like, Andrea and I, because I've been gone for work, Andrea and I have had this conversation a couple times where she was like, I feel bad sometimes because I'm just like, I'm so tired because I can't. I'm like, I'm not going to be that parent who's just like, oh, you're so lucky. You could, like, that's just like, I think this is the thing is like, again, this is the thing about that, like, internal monologue versus the husband is you're just like, dude, just keep your mouth shut. Like, I think that's like,
dude, this dad, we'll just do Scoot McNairy now.
Let's just do Scoot McNairy.
He brings a nice empathy. Like, he's an aloof guy. He doesn't seem intentionally vicious.
He's not being intentionally shitty at being
it's the fact that he's so unobservant that he doesn't realize his partner is struggling, and he just starts throwing out these trite, like, Hobby Lobbyisms that'll fix everything. And she has these flashes, like when he says that by the car, where she, like, smacks him, but she doesn't really. She's just a man. There's another one where, like, her eyes turn and she's like, rah! And, like, leaps across the room like she's gonna rip his throat out. And it's like, yeah, dude, shut the fuck up. The one that fucking killed me, and I was like, dude, you cannot be this stupid as a man, is when she's in the shower finally, and she's like, I haven't showered in 4 fucking days. I've been to the grocery store 3 times. I didn't realize we were out of milk. And he goes, that's kind of crazy. You should have got milk. And it's like, dude, go get the milk. DoorDash the milk. Leave her the fuck alone. Get the fuck out of that bathroom. And he just doesn't get it. Or when she's like, and get my tampons because I'm on my period. We literally watch her bleeding in the shower.
Dude, yeah.
And she's laying on him on the couch, and he's like, should we fuck?
Oh, my God.
And she's just like, that. I'll say this. Every parent of newborns, we should still be banging a lot, right? That is a constant minefield that I like, 100% remember. But him just like, because there's moments where, like, they're in the art museum and he's, she's like, I think I'm going to quit art and just focus on being with him. And he's like, yeah, all right. You're like, that's a trap where it's like, you can't win. If you say you should stay with art, you will get yelled at because you're saying that she should have more stamina and that her trauma and her tiredness is just a sign of weakness, right? Or you say, okay, and then you're in trouble because you don't fucking care and you're not fighting for her, the person she wants to be. And it's like, yeah, okay, some of these you're just not going to win, right? That's the problem with these big traumatic moments. They're unwinnable moments. Then you turn around and it's like, all right, I kind of sympathize with this dad. And then he goes, you know what? You're not the woman I married. I don't want to be married to my mom. You used to be cool and exciting and know about world events. And I was like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Shut your mouth.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
Danger. Yeah, and it's just like, dude. So by the end of the movie, he has completely lost any footing with which to stand.
No, and I think that's the thing I like about the movie itself is it doesn't do that thing that I think like bad comedy would do. It's like, oh, look how stupid this husband is. So stupid. Yeah. Like his aloofness, like you said, like his aloofness is just the parenting that I think a lot of us have done before. Not in a way that's like bad or anything, but I mean, look. When bath time's going on and she walks into the bathroom and he's taking a shit and playing on his phone, I'm like, I've been that guy. But it's like, what are you doing?
How about when it's night time and he's like, ugh, he has to pause his like fucking Madden game. I was like, dude,
you have shut your mouth, pause the game.
That's what I was saying. I don't feel like I was like a world-class husband and partner. Like a lot of it felt like survival for me. It's like, dude, you cannot be that fucking insane that you're not reading the room. How, dude, make sure, this is like Dad 101. You make sure they're in bed and then you turn on the Xbox.
Then you turn on the game.
You wait till they're fucking asleep and happy. What? And he just goes, ugh. Also, I don't like when you call it night time. Also, now you seem happy and you're sleeping again. I'm going to take umbrage with the dog thing. It's like, dude, shut
it. Yeah. Like, there's so many parenting things that are just, like the video
is
game
he eating out of a dog bowl? And you're like, a dog bowl's just a fucking bowl. If a dog never had it, shut the fuck up. Who cares? He's sleeping in a dog bed. You know what a dog bed is? It's a pillow. Shut the fuck up.
Shut up. He's sleeping by himself. Be so excited, dude. We had. I mean, all these things are just things where I'm just like, just shut up.
Just shut the fuck up.
Let it happen,
dude. I want to be on your side as a fellow fucking father. You're fucking failing. You're not doing a good job.
Well, I think that's the other thing about that mechanism of parenting is like when you have to be the one who's gone, or when you can't be the one who's as observant as the other one. You have like whenever this is what Marielle Heller does. It's just so smart and so well
this
crafted.
script. So her and Rachel Yoder wrote this script. This is one of my favorite screenplays of the year.
I mean, it's amazing. This is like the way this is crafted, these scenes, because again, it's not like he's just aloof. It's not intentionally shitty, but like when you're the parent who has to key out to do other things, when you come back and you start being like, oh, I guess I should like offer my opinion about this parenting. He's like, no, I don't think so.
I'll tell you this. People who don't have kids, parenting is how do I get through the fucking day?
That's it.
That's all it is. It's day by day. And if someone finds something that works, do not have the audacity to run and be like, well, here's what I find. Shut up. When you have the kid, you do what you got to do to get through. Yeah. And she shouldn't say shit. Shut the fuck up. Yeah. Shut the fuck up.
That's
Be
it.
a team.
See,
I think that's the thing.
That's the key. The co-parenting thing.
Yes. But we spend a lot of time inside of her head, right? We do magical asides with her. We're listening to her tell us how much she is struggling. So I think that's the other beautiful thing about these extra surreal devices that break reality is that we are so emotionally invested in her trouble that we know so specifically how she feels. And when we cut to him, it's always him just kind of like, he has no fucking sign. All of this information we're getting through these extra devices, he's not getting. And it makes him play as if he is choosing to not see what we're seeing. And again, I don't think it's because he's not played as a cartoonishly misogynistic person. He's another guy who's just like, I worked and I want to come home and have this more traditional 1950s life. And she's like, motherfucker. And I think that's the great key of this, right? Because there's a lot of like fun genre stuff. I think a lot of these like personal stories about like hard real world shit just go down so much better with these little layers of genre and some surrealism. We all know the fucking pain. We see the moments of pain. Like when she's at the fucking grocery store, right? And they're having a good moment being dogs. She turns around, there's a guy looking at her, another mom. And you're just like, don't fucking shame a woman for making a kid. We get that pain, right? But what happens
that level of silent judgment. You're like,
fuck off. But see,
I think that's been
that moment we get. And then those little extra genre moments of like, does she have a tail? Does she have 8 nipple? Those things make it more fun, right? It gives us a moment to breathe as an audience and be like, oh, shit, I can put aside my own parenting trauma and laugh again, right? Yeah. So I wanted to talk about this too. Because we kind of talked about the surreal devices, right? The mystical women book and the bird women and all that.
Yeah.
That shit is really fun and it helps us out. Mm-hmm. We really have to talk about what this movie will really be known for, right? Is the inner animal story, right? Is that this is a lady who needs something, right? She needs to howl at the moon, as it were. She needs to get out and be free and do something crazy. There is some, I wouldn't even call it body horror, because I thought it was funny because a lot of people were talking about this like a werewolf body horror movie. I don't think I've ever seen another kind of werewolf, maybe short of Teen Wolf, once he's like banging cheerleaders and shit and getting the lead in the play and being basketball. The first time she sees like the white hair on a mole on her chin and she's got like a fucking Fred Durst soul patch on her tramp stamp area. I don't know if we're supposed to call that anymore. That's probably rude. Mea culpa. My bad. That just is a hangover from spring break. My bad. I'm the aloof parent now. But when she has that, she's not in horror. She's not immediately trying to shave it off. And it's not Tim Allen in the Santa Claus where he's jiggling his stomach and shaving his face. She's not worried about it. She meets these moments with a laugh and a smirk. There's a hideous scene where she us a cyst open and pulls the fucking little dog tail out. And she just goes, What did you make of the fact that this transformation, which feels like, and this was the year of female body horror stories, right?
Really was, yeah.
Certainly. This one doesn't feel, it's funny because the inversion is the female body horror is her baseline reality.
Yeah.
And the transformations and the changing to her body into a dog figure are met with joy and relief. It's kind of an inversion of the body horror trope.
I think what I like about that is that so often, because again, look, I've not been pregnant, but I've lived with a pregnant person, and I've lived with a woman I've lived with a woman who went into postpartum. It was really fast. It's one of those things where that loss of body and the control you have over your body is so fast. Like it's so brutal. And I think what's interesting is when those sort of more fantastical things start happening, the reason that they're more entertainment value than they are like the substance level of body horror, for instance, is because it's one of those things. My wife did. My wife had the little hairs on the front of your hair, like the postpartum hairs, like very little, like your hair. When your hair starts growing back, it starts growing and so she was like, "Oh, look at that." It's one of those things where I think because it happens and you have so little control over what's happening to your body that Amy Adams' character basically, the emotional trauma is so much more relevant that those sort of body things are well, it'll figure itself out. Eventually I'll figure out how to do this.
Well, she has that great line where it's like the three. You're like, will I ever be happy again? Will I ever be talented again? Will I ever be thin again? It's this mingling of emotional and physical distress, right? There's just moments where, a lot of the body horror is even aimed at things like just when she's trying to sleep and the kid is just grabbing her. She's like, maybe if I close my eyes and pretend he won't.
Yeah.
And he's like,
yeah,
Mama.
Totally.
And again, that to me is this assault on the physicality, right?
Absolutely.
The husband trying to fucking bang her. She's got that water pack on her, fucking period riddled stomach, right? Where she's like, I'm just in pain, and he's rubbing her feet and hey. Those moments to me are more than when she turns, right? When she flips it on.
I agree. I think that those kinds of things are, again, it's this uncontrollability, and that scene particularly where she's got she's got the hot water thing on her area, and you're just she's and then he's rubbing her feet, and I'm like, oh, he's a nice husband. Oh, that's why he's rubbing her feet. What an idiot!
You want these fingers to move up a little bit? It's no! What are you doing? Watch British
You
Bake
were
Off
so
and shut
close.
the fuck up.
Read the fucking room, you idiot! It's so. But again,
so she has a line in here, and this to me is the body horror of it, where she just goes. She talks about the cat and she shoos the cat away, and you think it's a dog versus cat thing. And she just goes, I don't want anything else needing me right now.
Yes.
And I was like, dude, that is one of the most
that's the horror of it right
moments.
There. That's what it is.
It's that constant assault of people taking pieces of you, just fucking taking from you that you can't stand. The body horror of you're finally laughing with your kid and strangers at a grocery store judging the shit out of you. Right? That's the stuff that is fucking terrifying in this.
I agree. I think that's really that's where the horror comes from. The true terror or any sort of thrill.
It's not even a horror journey.
I mean, horror's not it's the only word I know how to use for it. It's just one of those things where when you see people looking at you and quietly judging how you're parenting your kid, you're it's now that Henry's 5. When he was little, it was harder. But now that he's 5, it's a little easier. It's he's acting like a dick, so I can be dude, chill out.
Yeah.
They're those kinds of things. When they're young like that and they're still learning how the world works, it's just such a different thing. And I don't know, the beauty of the whole parenting experience boils down to what are you willing for me at least, the beauty of the whole parenting experience. And I think for Amy Adams' character, it's not finding meaning in oh, I'm not an artist anymore, so I'm going to be a mother, because she grapples with that too. And I that scene, it's the second or third Book Babies scene where she's talking to all the moms and one of the moms is pregnant again. Oh my God, dude. That's one of my favorites. It's easily one of my favorite scenes in the movie where she's we're fucking powerful.
We literally are growing bones in our. It is fucking insane when you live through it. And again, I'm aware we're men and we didn't fully live through it. But just watching, being holy shit, there's a person inside of my wife.
Yeah,
she's
it's
but
wild.
my wife's still oh, I gotta go run errands today, and it's what? We make women run errands? when
you're
growing,
you're building somebody inside you. Why are you running an errand? I'll do it.
There's a lot of those. I'll say from the dad perspective, there's a lot like pregnancy's a lot of that. Man, I am fucking useless.
Yeah.
Like they say, moms become mothers like immediately, right? Like they feel the growth and the change, and there's an intimacy in that motherhood, right? That's just like the most powerful thing on earth, right? That bond between mother and child is a primal, deep magic. They say fathers become fathers the moment they hold their kid the first time. So you're like, hey, I can do stuff now, unless you're this husband, right? But there is a true uselessness of watching your wife who's just like distended and bulbous and like her back and her feet. And it's like, wow, she was always this like powerful, awesome. Yeah. And now look at like what she is just still fucking plowing through.
It's pretty.
And it's like some women have to work right up to delivery. Some women, they don't have any, because they talk about in that scene, like we don't have fucking health care. We don't get time off. We got to do all this shit. We still got to look nice. We got to get our body. And it's fucking, they kind of lay out this case for like how in a country, and especially right now, we're doing a lot of arguments about womanhood and who should have a say in this and that. And just the base level of like, you know what? Maybe we're just not fucking doing a good job for mothers. Yeah. Like maybe we are not doing a good job.
Well, and I think, again, just the psychological barrier that's up when you don't have, like when she goes to that dinner, which is, again, such a great scene. When she goes to,
so this is one of the next things I wanted to bring up. I think the other element of kind of despair and horror in this movie is that exterior judgment, right? Nothing, because again, Amy Adams' journey in this movie is I birthed a child, and everything that I am is in that child. There's nothing left of me. I'm hollowed out. I am destroyed.
Right.
I have to figure out how to rebirth myself in this new reality. And that's it, because again, her husband's a real dick. He's like, yeah, I know, I'm babysitting. Which, by the way, if you're a dad and your wife's going to do something and you say, yeah, I'll babysit the kids, trust me, you're going to get fucking yelled at. You're going to get in trouble. Don't fucking make this mistake again. She goes into town and she is just with, I don't know, maybe some people have friends like this and they like that. Maybe they are the most insufferable sacks of shit.
Oh my God.
And they're immediately treating her like she's not worth being there.
Like she's less
than. She's not one of them. Again, this movie plays so much with, not only is she from the inside attacking herself and what's her value and what's left of her, everyone in the movie, her husband, strangers, her own friends, like this dinner scene is brutal to watch.
It's next level. Well, I think what's interesting too is this is the kind of scene that in a lesser film comes like in the middle of the first act of the movie. Mm-hmm. And you're just like, oh, this is supposed to show us how different she is than her friends. But they do that like 2 different times already. Mm-hmm. So what this scene ends up being about is her revelation that, oh wait, I'm better than all. Like it's not the better. It's I am better off without these people in my life right now because all of them. It's not a matter of like everybody's self-absorbed. That's part of life. It's because none of them are willing to see the when you have a child. Like I think this is, and again,
none of them ask how the kid's doing. None of them ask how she's doing. The only thing at one point is they're just like, are you working on anything? And she's like, yeah, not fucking dying every day.
Yeah. She asks one of them like, oh, how old's your child now? She's like 6. She's really into the cello and the violin. Okay. I'm like, cool. Wasn't asking what her hobbies were.
Not only that, but this is something I went through too, where I had a buddy on my softball team. Great guy. But him and his wife are like mega rich, right? She is an ultra successful screenwriter and director in Hollywood. You've seen a lot of her movies in theaters, I'm telling you. And I was sitting there and they're like, what's wrong with you today? I was like, I haven't fucking slept in 2 days. I'm fucking raggedy, blah, blah, blah. The kid did this. And he goes, oh, I know, dude, the sleep thing. And then like 5 minutes later, him and this other guy are talking about their night nurse. And I go, what the fuck's a night nurse?
Oh,
and he goes, oh, that's our nurse that comes in overnight and stays up all night with the kid and feeds the kid and takes care of him while we sleep a full 8 to 10 hours. And I go, what? I was like, how fucking dare you try to sympathize with me? And this lady says that. She's like, I have a nanny. And she's like, I think, having the time to do my art makes me a better mother because I can, focus on the things that matter. And I was just like, the fact that Amy Adams didn't go werewolf right there.
Yeah.
And like,
I was like,
that dinner
is she going to rip all these people? Is she going to tear all these people? I was like, tear all these people apart, please.
Because that's the
please
thing.
just howling these people.
The friend in the jacket is like immediately, you're like, every friend group has that person who's just hateful of everything and not cool, but they're just around.
Yeah.
I get that. The other friend who should be like, hey, I'm in the same boat as you. Like, let's talk about life stuff. When she said that, I was like, unbelievable. And then I love that because Amy Adams is trying to eat a kale salad. She's trying to be what she thinks these people are.
Yeah, yeah.
And when she stands up, she's like, I can crush a walnut in my vagina. And just starts housing that burger. And she's like, "Arr, arr, arr." I was like, yeah.
Loved it.
It was like this righteous,
here we go.
This righteous DMX rage coming out.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Arr, arr."
Dude, it was so good. Again, it's one of those scenes. It's such a great scene for a
They don't
movie.
even acknowledge her until at the end. She has an art exhibit.
Yeah.
And she just walks away from it. I was like, sometimes that's what it is, dude. Oh,
just say,
what a great scene.
So good. It's such a great scene in a movie about this. Is someone finally not even coming to the revelation? Like, this is the thing. Again, Marielle Heller and Rachel Yoder wrote such a great script, and then it's so deftly directed because this moment in a lesser movie becomes about like, wait, I am validated by my family. But no, not the line. That is not the point of the movie.
Yeah, she just
like,
wants to tell them all to
she
fuck
just
off.
is like, I'm good. Like, I made the choices I made. You can judge me as much as you want, but like, I'm good with who I am at this moment. Like,
I think it's that, and
that.
it's as she's gagging on kills. She's like, why am I using
am I
my
doing
time
this?
alone to again be someone I don't want to be? And she barks, and we see her running through the streets, running back home. And it's not even the, I'm good. It's the, I don't want to be anything other than what I am at my most primal form, which takes the shape of this dog. Because I think the movie's telling us she never actually transforms, right? I don't think there's any actual transformation.
I kind of agree.
Like, the husband is literally banging her and biting her neck. He doesn't see a tail. He doesn't see extra nipples, which would be great. That would be really cool. I'd be into that.
Sure.
There's none of that going on, right? It's this surreal mind theater, right? Do you think she ever actually transforms in this movie?
No,
when she comes in dirty, I think she's just out fucking rolling around pretending to be a dog. She wants to be fucking free and animalistic.
Yeah.
That does have a darker tone because that means she fucking killed that cat as just her normal lady self.
Yeah.
Which is fucking brutal. But I don't think she ever actually transforms.
No, I don't think she... I mean, I also think maybe the cat could have been killed by a coyote or something like that. They're in LA. Like, it's completely plausible. But like, I also think it's okay if she killed the cat because cats suck, but that's my opinion.
Whoa! Sorry, cat people. I actually watched this with a cat lover. And he literally reached over and covered his cat's eyes, and he's like, "Don't watch." And I was like, "So I know cat people are going to have issue with this moment." I get it, but did we even see other scenes where, like, the kid's playing with the dead animal, which is hilarious because that's exactly how that goes, and there's just dead animals on her door. So we're led to believe that at some point she may be killing these animals, or that other dogs are doing it and bringing them to her, or that the other dogs killed the cat because of a psychic connection. But again, I don't think the movie matters whether she does or does not turn. What it is, it's this yearning to break free, right? When she transforms, she sheds all this human bullshit and is just free to run and kill a rabbit, too. She's really murderous. Like, she's not a cool dog. She's a really murderous dog, we find out.
She's a powerful...
Yeah, because my buddy's like, how do we know that wasn't, like, a Nightbitch rabbit? That's just some other mom who's like, I just want to be free and run around with the speed of a rabbit. And this other mom's like, fuck you! And murders her. Right? What if that cat was a Nightbitch who just never came back? She kills her.
Knowing who the person is who said that is the most that response I could.
He really has a gift to see between the lines and see what the true story is. It was a wonderful experience. But again, I think what I loved about this movie so much is it's that, because we see her get the time, and the father now has to go through what she's going through, and she's like, he has that great scene where Scooch just like, yeah, like I was at the pool with all these other dads, and just like these kids were lost and the dads were lost, and it's like, yeah, and she finds herself and does art and realizes she can do both. She can have it all. She talks to the other moms, and she does this monstrous act of killing the cat, and then they're like, I let the fish die. It was like benign neglect. And she's like, yeah, I let the bird go because like I didn't want to take care of anything else. And she finds solace in these other women that she judged and hated the way people did to her. and she found these like common bonds, right? Like she likes being part of their group now. They are the focal point of her exhibit, right? And I think that's really cool. Like her rebuilding herself, right? She has become a werewolf in a way where like she transforms into something better and stronger, but not in a horror way. And I think that's the beautiful thing is the genre is here to just flavor and add substance. It becomes these fun visual metaphors for these internal battles, right? It's just a fun extra thing in the movie, but the movie doesn't fall apart if it is real or not. Let me ask you one more question. Who the fuck is this librarian? She hands her the book and is nice, and then is cold and says it doesn't have a Dewey Decimal card. And then at the end she goes, you found it. You've done it. You've said it, right? Whatever she says. And she walks away like she's an all-knowing fucking boss. Who is this lady? Is she a mystical totem? What is this lady's deal?
Could it be like Christopher Lloyd and the Page Master? Like, I know what your journey must be.
Damn! Is this God? Is this God? Does she hold the fucking weird books for all of us?
Maybe. You never know.
I don't know. There's something extra going on. And you cast Jessica Harper because you want something extra going on.
Yeah, you want something extra happening.
I think it's one of those beautiful mysteries where it's like this woman has some kind of power. I also was wondering if it's just because she's an older woman who's been through this. Because at one point she's like, I didn't see you as a mother. She's like, you didn't see it in there? That little burning fire of a woman who put herself on hold for the dreams of others, the propagation of the species. And it leads Amy Adams to this, like, how many women postponed or delayed their greatness because of this. I don't know. There's something extra going on with her. Another thing we didn't talk about to wrap this up, I'm not a huge fan of flashbacks all the time. I think this movie has enough surrealism. I was a little off with the mom thing, right? Where it's the mom is, I resented my mom. She said she was going to be a great singer, but she wasn't that good, blah, blah, blah. She judged her from the child's perspective. And now she's like, I'd like to ask my mom, do you regret it? Do you wish you had stayed single? Blah, 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 all that. At the end, when her mom just crawls back in bed with her, and we never see her transform, she's just like, I was stressed. I had to go run in the woods. And she's like, but I'm your mom, and I love you, and I'll always come back. It really got me. Like, it got me very emotional. I was like, sometimes that's what it feels like, is that you're failing because there's only so much of us. Yeah. But give me enough space to fail as a parent, and I'll come back, dude. I'll give you everything I got.
I think
it's hard for parents to realize sometimes because, again, I think everyone I talk to that's a parent, we all know we're probably just not enough. Like, we need help.
Well, I think that's do it. That's what it is like, that's why co-parenting, that's why being with the right, that's why being with your partner is so important because, again, you just need a lot of the time the recharge. When you don't have the recharge and you're giving 100% all the time always to, like, everybody, you're spread so thin it's just not possible to.
And
be
like
you.
Her in this, she's doing the laundry, she's doing also
everything.
Parenting him. It is one of those too. I think it's good for husbands to watch and be like, hey man, step the fuck up. Like, we got to do better. I think this is like this and Fatal Attraction you should have to watch before you get married.
Like, if you see yourself in Scoot McNairy's character at all, step up. Be a better one. All right?
Yeah, wash your own fucking undies, dude.
Wash your fucking underwear.
Make your own fucking coffee, dude. Can we
Don't ask her to make the coffee. Make the coffee.
And again, I get it. He's working all the time too, and by the end, he learns he never gets a day off because he's working, and then he's doing the single dad thing. And it's like,
yeah, dude, that's part of it.
That's the deal, right? You also signed up for this shit. You also said this is the deal: is that I'll work, and then when you come home, you better fucking help out.
You come home, you like, dude.
Have you never seen a tag team championship match, motherfucker? Sometimes your partner's getting their ass whipped and they lunge for you, and then you got to come in and bring the juice.
You got to come in and fucking suplex.
But I thought that moment with her mom of like accepting, it's not even forgiveness. She realizes that as parents, we will never be enough to be perfect. And as long as we are committed to coming back and giving the best we can earnestly, that's all we can do, man. And it's fine to have flaws and imperfections. That's what her whole art show's about. All right, Alex. Before we get out of here, what was the most messed up moment in Nightbitch to you?
Scoot McNairy trying to get it on with a foot rub.
Okay, see that? Yeah, these are usually like horror beats. There are two in this moment that are like actual like human moments. Like when she's at that park, it's actually the same park we used to take our kid to a lot.
Yeah.
And the kid is just gone. And in my mind, I was like, oh, she's going to have to turn into the dog and kill a chomo. And she just finds the kid on the other side of a hill. The dread of that, like, if you have ever lost your sight of your kid for a second, terrifying. So insanely palpable. I will say, to go more of the messed up moment, I think you would go 2, right? The cutting the cyst and milking the, like, gross Cinnabon frosting out of it and pulling the tail out was pretty intense. Also, the killing the cat. We just have to say, it is a wild choice that she fucking brutally murdered this cat. It was not a coyote. We're not letting her up. The same way you can't let Scoop McNairy off the hook for aloofness, she straight up murdered this fucking cat, and that is hardcore. This is not feeding a fish or letting a bird out. That cat is bloodied and mangled.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not gross, but as someone who lives with a significant other's pet that they brought into our situation, I was fine with it.
Does your cat need help? Are you okay?
Oh,
are you going to Nightbitch your cat?
I want that cat Nightbitched in the worst way.
Run, cat, run! No, flick kitty litter at him and fucking run. That is a wild and aggressive thing that the movie just kind of drops in, and then the other moms are like, it's cool. And she's like, no, I didn't not feed my fish. I, with my bare hands and maybe teeth, ripped this fucking cat apart. I do wonder if the book moms would have been like, let's take a pause. Let's take a pause.
I think what's entertaining about that is simply, if it was a dog, you would not be able to finish the movie. The fact that it was a cat, you're like, the fact that it was a cat, I was like, okay, cats suck. I'm like, there you go, right there.
Yeah, she can't eat a dog or another kid. But cats are like the last pet that, like, are pretty much beloved. But there's a portion enough of the audience that's like, well, they are dicks sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, come on, dude. This is a crazy addition. Because, again,
it's brutal.
I want to get back. They equate it to very ridiculous markers. It is not the same as what these other moms did. And she didn't explain the viciousness of her attack. She was masking again. Neither here nor there. I have this as a 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd. This is in my top 10 favorite movies of the year. Amy Adams is transcendent. Marielle Heller, Rachel Yoder, writers, Marielle Heller directed it. It's just one of those movies that you see such pitch perfect decision making. Even though it's surreal, it's so fucking rooted in this reality that is painful and hard to talk about. And the kind of thing that most movies turn into like a fun family romp, right? Yeah. I love the honesty of this, even as a surreal journey.
I like that the lesson of the movie is not, be happy with what you have. It's like, it's okay to be not okay. I'm like, that's what the message always should be, especially about parenting. It is absolutely fine
to not be okay. And sometimes you got to fucking fix yourself before you can be there for others, man.
Agreed.
Again, this movie doesn't sugarcoat any of it, right? And you could say there is this, I'm a monster, I'm this, I'm that, I'm power. Like, there's a lot of hyperbolic statements, right? But again, that's what it feels like. It is such a fucking dire headspace to be in at times. And again, I thought, you give me this any day over whatever Steve Martin movie is about the yucks of him, like, learning how to be a dad. This is what it actually feels like. I'm fucking telling you, this movie hit so deep. And again, I only had half of the journey, right? The not body part. I found it so pitch perfect talking to these real life fucking devastations. I fucking love this movie. That's it for the Nightbitch. I hope you've enjoyed this new movie Monday. We will be back Wednesday, entering the abyss to find another messed up classic to talk about. Make sure you tune in Fridays as well for our interviews with filmmakers about their journeys, their stories, and what lessons we learn along the way. Be nice to your cats. Go to the Messed Up Movies Podcast Patreon to support the show. Subscribe to the Misfit Parade YouTube channel. Check out our short film, Sugar Tits. Go to all the social medias. Look up Misfit Parade. We have short bits from this content we're doing over there. We would appreciate the shares, 5-star ratings, and reviews as always. Go to misfitparade.net or com to join our newsletter. Join the parade. More than anything, guys, thank you for your time. I'm your host, Josh Griffey. Alex, that cat better be fine. That cat better be safe when I come visit next time.
Okay, you got it.
I don't believe it.
Or do you?
No!